Thank you to Yanmar for bringing us this video series. Don't settle for less when you can have more. Yanmar's tractors are designed to work as hard as you do for a lifetime. Strengthen your dealership with Yanmar today.
So we are going to go through some of the ways that we work with dealers to find candidates and just some things we've heard recently in regards to just different ways to think outside the box. It goes back to what we were talking about with job titles and why do they matter. Because we are able to pigeonhole ourselves into these small little pools when we have all of these other people out here. And so it's important for us to think of these ways. So, there are a lot of traditional ways that everybody knows of to find and hire people. We've got Craigslist and newspaper. I think we're finding more and more that both of those, depending on where you are not really, don't always produce the results we're looking for. Maybe 5 or 10 years ago, Craigslist was a great place to look and find technicians. But as we've been working with dealers, it's not really been the case anymore. So that's one of the ways that we've seen over the last 5 years or so really transition out is Craigslist. Job recruiter sites. So this is like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and there are some that are really, really cool. One of our favorites is ZipRecruiter because it gives you the ability to have a job application inside of your online application, which is a really great thing. You can put certain questions that you need them to answer for it to actually come through to your email. So it has a really great function of being able to sort through some of the resumes that you get to give you the high quality ones that meet what you're needing. It is expensive. When you're jumping into a site like ZipRecruiter, you're going to be paying a lot of cash for that. But as I was talking with Jeff Blackton in our office, who does a lot to help dealers find and hire employees, he was talking to me about this, and I never really realized this. But job recruiter sites are simply search engines. Are you guys aware of that? They are simply search engines, and so it is important as we're looking for people that we understand that. How many of you are familiar with SEO or search engine optimization? A few of us, right? So what this means, I am a no tech person by any stretch of the imagination, but what this simply means is that we have to have keywords over and over again in our job description so that they pull up to the top when people are looking for them. That's simply what it means. It's like how on your website, you're always encouraged to have a blog, right? Because if somebody looks up how to, something on gardening or something on maintaining equipment, it will direct them back to your site. So if you have a website company you're working with, I'm sure they've probably recommended that you have a blog of some sort to help with search engine optimization. But the same is true for job recruiter sites. And so we'll go through in just a little bit by department some of the keywords that we've seen really effective to use on these sites to help open our pool up some. But job recruiter sites, they're expensive, they're a traditional way, but you can still get a nice return on your investment with those if you use them properly. And then temp agencies. How many of you use temp agencies to help find people? Yeah, a few. Does that work pretty well for you? Depending, yeah. I think that's what we've heard a lot is it depends. It depends on your area a little bit if a temp agency is a right fit and what positions you're looking for. But we've had some dealers who've had good success with that. It's just something to keep in mind when you feel like you've exhausted all the options because we get it. We hear from dealers every day, it is so hard to find techs. And like Bob said, while it is, there's only so many people who have an education and ability to become a technician. Can we agree on that? There's only a certain amount of people, and depending on your region and where you are, you may have a bigger pool or a smaller pool. But if we can pay them well, that's step number one, right? But number two is making sure we know where we're looking for them. All right, some non-traditional ways that we have seen the most return on our investment in finding new employees is our current employees. How many of you have someone who is working at your dealership now that was a referral from another employee? Lots of hands, right? People like people who are like themselves. So if you like the people who you're currently having work at your dealership, ask them if they know anyone like themselves that would be interested in working with you. Yes? Yeah, absolutely. There is nothing wrong with tying some cash into that as well. If they give you an employee, I've heard often of dealerships who do that and say if they stick around even for 6 months, they'll even pay up to $1,000. But depending on what your tolerance is there, it depends, but that's definitely one. So if people like people who are like themselves and we like our employees, it's important for us to ask them if they know anyone else like themselves who would like to come work with us. I think that's one important thing. Now, if you don't like your employees, that is a whole different issue that we're not getting into today. But let's just say for the stance that we like the people that are working with us now, and so that is a great place to ask and look for other people. At our company, when we have a job opening, the very first thing we do after we've done the job description, the job analysis, and established compensation is we send an email out to everyone on our team and say, hey, we have this job opening. Do you know anyone who would be a good fit? The other thing that this does is it gives us this reference that we know very well. Like if someone comes to us as a reference, as a result of an employee giving us their name, we have a whole lot of information on this new person, and it has saved us a lot of headaches. All right, social media. How many of you are using social media to post jobs? Yeah, some. So, that's another great thing. On your company social media page, be sure to put a thing out. We're hiring. The whole goal is to get in front of as many people as we can to produce a qualified candidate for us. That's what we're trying to do. And social media is a great avenue to do that. I'd encourage you to ask your friends, your family, your employees to share this on their page. Again, when you know a friend of a friend knows this person, you have a reference that you can really trust and ask good, hard questions to make sure that we are bringing the right person on to our team. Local colleges are another great place depending on what you're looking for specifically. A few years ago, we were looking for a person to help us with marketing, and I went over to our local college here in Liberty, about 20 minutes away, and I set up a table, and I just asked all of the marketing students if they were interested in starting a part-time job with us. We found a candidate. It didn't work out in the long run, but there were so many students who were anxious to get their feet wet in the marketing world of business, right? It's a low-cost employee for us, and they're excited, they're learning, and they're ready to put what they're using to work. So depending on what position you're looking for, this can be a good strategy as well. Well, it's just about thinking of ways that are maybe not the normal ways. So this is a high school, correct? Yeah, contacting your local high school and seeing if they have a program like that, where you can start hiring low and growing in your dealership, because that's what we're trying to do constantly. We want to hire somebody at a low level and train them and grow them into something different. Just like with Bob's example, we're looking to hire somebody to help wash machines that maybe we can start moving into a low B-level tech, right? And maybe continue to train and move up, but it's about hiring low and growing. So hiring open houses, you may or may not have luck there, but the idea is this fact that we are just constantly trying to find ways to be out in front of as many people as possible, because the more people that we can be in front of, the better chance it is that we'll have the right candidate at our dealership. Online forums is an interesting place as well. Probably about a year and a half ago, I was talking to Jeff about this, and he had mentioned to me he was working on his truck. Jeff and Brian at our company both love their trucks, and they love to work on their trucks, right? And so they were on this online forum that was like Ask a Tech or something to that extent. And literally he said, why are we not taking advantage of the fact that we have all of these technically inclined people on a forum? Sure, it's for the automotive side, and they may not be technicians, but we never know when somebody is looking to transition or change. And it can simply be a conversation of, I know you're probably not looking, but if the time comes available and you are looking for something different, just give me a call first. We're not hiring them at this point. We're just opening up the opportunity to have a conversation and possibly move that. But it gives us the first dibs at this person. It's just a thought. And then my favorite place is other places that we do business, right? Maybe it's something as simple as you just bought a car and you had a great experience with a salesperson. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe you take your kids to the doctor and the receptionist at your pediatrician's office is just out of this world with customer service. And I'm not saying let's go employee snatch, like that's not what I'm saying. But we never know when there's somebody who's looking for something different or a transition. And all we're gonna say is, I don't know if you're ever interested in doing something different, but if you are, give me a call first. That's all we're simply going to say. We're not marrying them. We're not asking them to come work for us on Monday. We're just saying, if you decide you'd like to do something different, just give me a call. Maybe it's your server at a restaurant that you frequent regularly. There are so many places that you do business. If you see someone who is an incredible employee, incredible at customer service, or any of these things, it's important just to reach out and say, if you ever decide you want to go down a different path or you want to do something different, give me a call first.